There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit ComicShopLocator.com to find a store near you.
All right, everybody, we're back. I'm Kyle. I've been your host most of the weekend. We are going to get right into it with two people of whom I have been a huge fan for a really long time. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor. I almost said Jimmy Connors because I've been thinking about sports today. It's been a whole thing.
I was going to say you must like golf or something if you're going to.
I think he's tennis.
Is he tennis, Jimmy Connors?
Yeah.
There's a golf player, too. There's a golf.
Is there really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
whatever. It's Palmiotti and Connor. It's,
Connor, Jimmy and Amanda. The legendary pair.
I always crack up whenever I hear that. I'm like, no.
Amanda's definitely a legend. Happy Martin Luther King Day, everybody, today.
Yes, absolutely. Happy
That's
MLK.
why you kids are home today, in case you wanted to know why you're home today, kids.
Yes, it's important to know why you're home.
Yeah.
I said earlier in the day, the banks are closed and so is the post office. So if anybody's working, they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Our teachers, our next door teachers were home today also.
Yeah, that's how we know. When we see their cars in the driveway.
Like, is it a holiday?
Right.
That's how we live our life. We're like, all the days blend into each other. And then like when we see the cars in the driveway, we're like, it must be a holiday or a weekend.
Yeah, we both work at home, so we never go shopping on the weekend. That's for everybody else. We're very considerate that way.
Right? I mean, I work from home as well most of the time, and it's like when there are kids riding bikes in the neighborhood, I know it's either the summer finally or that there's something going on. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
You guys both had very historic and prolific careers in comic books, but why are you in comic books? Why did you decide that this was your medium?
Because I knew how to draw, and it was my favorite kind of art when I was younger. And I think my mom wanted me to be like a fine art painter. She wanted me to be like either Marie Cassatt or she wanted me to be Georgia O'Keeffe or Frida Kahlo. And I was like, comic books. And that's where it went from there.
Yeah. And then I really wasn't good at anything else. No, I'm kidding. I actually was in advertising and I did a lot of other jobs but I've always loved comics. So I always, no matter what I did for a living, I kept going back to comics and I was, until I could figure out how to make a living, because it's really not a very great paying job, So there's a lot of maneuvering you have to do to make a living doing this. You just can't say, I want to do comics. And then you get hired and you do a book a month and think, well, now I can live off that. Most of the time you really can't. So there's a lot of maneuvering being a comic book person. Yeah.
And let me ask you this, Jimmy, because you said you were in advertising. There are a lot of people in the comic book industry who are also advertising people. Neil Adams made a wonderful career out of it. And there are a lot of others that, I started off in advertising, and then once I had a steady career, I chose to do this. So what do you think it is about advertising and comics that play so well together?
Well, I started in comics and I was working, I was ghosting for a bunch of artists. I was ghosting for a couple of well-known artists. I'm moving a light here. I'm looking at like, okay, that's too bright. Looks like we just got busted for something. Wasn't me.
You guys are fine.
Anyway, so when I started out, I was ghosting for other comic artists and I saw how horribly they were living. They were making no living for it. And I said, I can't do this. I grew up in a home that had no money. There was no way I was going to take another job where I wasn't bringing home money for the family. So I didn't get into comics. I got into advertising, which paid a hell of a lot better and still does, pays a lot better. A lot more stress, a lot more, I had clients like Pepsi and Maybelline and, all these big name clients, but in the end, I still loved comics. So the advertising helped me to understand how important a deadline is. And then how to also communicate with people and how to interact with clients. And that helped me as far as when I started job hunting and dealt with editors and started doing work, getting it on time, because half of the battle for comics is getting your work in on time. Ask any lazy editor and they'll tell you they don't want to hire anybody that's a lot of work. They want somebody that gets the work in, So I took that from advertising and applied it to comics. But look, Neil was working in the same city as I, and actually your dad used Neil, right?
My dad used to hire Neil. My dad's was in advertising, and now he's happily retired.
Yes.
But yeah, he used to hire Neil for, like, if he needed a job that needed to get really sold, he would get Neil to do it.
Yeah, so and Neil makes Neil's a very smart guy. So anything Neil Adams says, you kind of got to listen to a little bit. He's been around, he knows what he's doing, but he's also the guy that got us royalties and got us our artwork returned. Like Neil is there's a lot about Neil Adams that we love as comic creators. He's
responsible for people being able to get their artwork back and stuff. And he's
and stuff. I like stuff.
We had a big long interview with him. We talked to him for 2.5 hours. It means we ask him one question, but that's okay because when Neil talks, you just sit and listen.
Yeah, yes. Pretty much. Yeah.
He told me once how to make $1 million starting with $1,000.
What happened?
I didn't make $1 million. That's not Neil's fault. I blame COVID. That's my new go-to. I just blame COVID.
It's so true. We have a question. Pop Kill, did those ideas come from the corporate ad world?
The idea came from Dave Johnson, pitched me the idea, but I was able to apply what I knew about advertising to it. So there is a lot of stuff in the book that's that kind of pokes fun at it. In the end, though, the book is about character. It's character driven. It's not teaching anybody about advertising, except that it's a cutthroat business like any other business.
Right.
Kyle, you know how it is. Come on, man. You know how it is. It's cutthroat out
there. And my thing is I'm still in the advertising world.
There you go.
So, I'm the producer here at the Comic Book Shopping Experience, and my whole job is to advertise for creators, for the industry, and for local comic shops.
Well, you got logos behind you, so right away you say all you say is advertising to me. I see that. Look at you have like moving logos and look that expo sneaking up on you. Yeah, there it goes.
For the week I didn't know how to animate. I taught myself how to animate this week.
Good for you. Awesome.
Now, if you can reanimate, then you got a different business going on.
To be real honest, I misspelled so much of it that we had to bring in a comic book editor, Drina Joe, to edit my animations. So it's true. It's hard work hustling. But
spelling sucks too. Amanda loves it, but I'm like, when I'm writing, I don't care what it's spelled like. I just got to get the idea down, and then Amanda goes and swoops in and says, "What the hell did you just write here?" And I'm like, "Okay." She cleans it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I misspelled Tuesday 4 or 5 times. So
I enjoyed like spelling and grammar when I was in
nerd.
I know.
Nerd.
But I'm not gonna, like, we know people who are like so good at it. Like I know editors that like Joanne and Chris, and they're like really, really good at it. I pale in comparison to them.
No, you don't pale. You're just pale. You're just that Irish pale look. That's all. Trash pale. I'm trash pale. You're just pale.
This. See, you guys really do. You have a very unique sense of humor, and as a pair of collaborators, that really comes through. I think it has to do with the fact that you guys, your relationship is incredibly strong, and so
yes.
How does we've been talking about how I believe 2021 is going to be the year of collaboration. Everybody's been stuck in their house for so long that they're going to be itching to work with as many people as they possibly can.
Oh, there's going to be orgies in the street, man. I'm just saying. It's going to get crazy.
You mean after COVID?
After COVID, people are going to be collaborating in every nook and cranny out there.
Yeah.
But so the question is because you guys have worked together so much.
Yeah.
Is there like a shorthand at this point, or is it still the process as it was when you first started, where it's how have you changed over the years?
I definitely have a shorthand for you. If I'm writing it, if like Amanda and I will discuss a story, and then I'll throw it down in a file, and then Amanda will go in and spice it up and add sound effects, tickle it, change some dialogue. Like she messes with it, but I know she is, and I'm so confident with her work that I never look at it again. And once she touches it, I'm good to go because I know it's good, right? No, I'm always sorry after when it comes out and I start reading it and go, "What the hell is she doing here?" But I trust her when we do a handoff, and then she kind of adds, especially with Harley Quinn. Like there was a lot of humor, and basically that book was written that I kind of put the plot down and tried to make Amanda laugh, and then Amanda went in and tried to make me laugh, and then we just sent it into DC and hoped for the best, Yeah,
and hope that it wouldn't all get cut.
I mean, we were writing 3 books a month, so we didn't have a lot of time to sit there and just dig in too much. We just kind of said we got to get this stuff out, and we were writing at one point, right? It was like 3 books a month. There
were certain points where we I was like, I can't do all this. I'm dying here, mostly it was like 1 to 2 books a month, but then it started becoming 2 books a month. And then with, specials on top of it, every time we did a special, it would be like 3 books a month. It'd be juggling 3 storylines a month.
Yeah. DC would have had us, if we could do a book every day, at that point, they would have had us do one daily.
I'd love to be able to do a book a day.
You could do a page a day. If they could put out 1-page comics, we can get that done. No problem. But no, it got a little crazy. So that's why we're not doing it anymore.
Well, yeah, there's a certain point where I'm just like, I'm burned out. I was just like, I can't work this at this pace anymore. I'm going to, have a heart attack. And
yeah, we needed the vacation and spend time with each other. Comics are great, but that's not our life. It's what we do. It's not who we are,
Yeah.
Right. That's Wes brings up a good point. Even in a rush, the Harley series is fantastic. One of his favorite runs.
Well, that's why we love Wes. Wes is out there saying that stuff, and people believe it. So good for you, Wes, man. We owe you one. We owe you a beer, or if you don't drink, we owe you a Coke.
There you go.
Stack of 20. I don't know.
So, but the question is when you're working at that pace, it does become untenable, for sure. There's only so much creative output any person can do before they've eventually got to consume sustenance and sleep.
Yes.
Pretty much. Yep. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, we would have our food breaks, and then where Amanda would get mad if I brought up the comic because she's like, "I'm eating."
I just needed like an hour to myself where work wasn't involved.
Yes,
it's like, holy crap.
That's why we got a cat. So she can complain to the cat, not me. I don't want to.
And the cat doesn't talk to me about work.
No, the cat. All it does is crap in a box and
give you so much love.
It gives you so much love. The cat loves her. Anyway.
So I have 2 questions about this, and one of them I'm going to ask first is the fun question.
Okay.
Do you have a go-to food when you need to take a break that takes a little while to make, but it'll distract you longer?
I'm not really good at cooking.
Or a go-to restaurant that's, slower. That way you don't have to work.
Actually, you know what I've been having lately, and I did this back in my 20s, and
it's
now
what
I'm
cows
doing
do when they're alone.
No.
Oh, it's not beef stroganoff?
No.
Okay.
I was making beef stroganoff for a while, but then we started really gaining the COVID-19, and I'm like, all right, I got to cut this out.
Okay, go ahead.
I get like a piece of hard bread, not like old bread, but like firm. You don't want like soft Wonder Bread. You need like a firm bread, like the stuff you get at Sprouts or something like that. Smear it with apricot jam and then slice strawberries and put them all over that and like make a strawberry and jam sandwich. It's so good. And that's sort of what I do to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I like pizza. So,
but do you make pizza?
I do make pizza.
You do make
that.
Actually,
I make pizza.
Yeah,
I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I make pizza. I can make pizza.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's required of being a New Yorker, right? Isn't it how to make pizza?
Well, the requirement of being a New Yorker is to complain about everybody else's pizza. That's the requirement. It's not so much making it. I make it, but a lot of New Yorkers love to complain about other pizza as they're eating it. So,
Pretty much.
I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about which Comic-Cons we're most excited for when we're allowed to go back to Comic-Cons. And I was explaining to them that it's Chicago because I have deep dish deficiency. And they look at me funny. But it's because right up the street here is a gentleman who was born and raised in the Bronx and bought his family's 100-year-old pizza recipe to Toledo, Ohio, so I can get top-level New York style the perfect thin crust. You got to fold it 4 times.
Does it drip oil? There's a lot of oil drip out of it.
You could change the oil in your car with the oil that comes off a slice.
That's good.
It's amazing, and it's just so I don't have New York style deficiency. So
But you do want other pizza. I get the Chicago. I love the deep dish pizza. I love a Detroit pizza. Although cons, one of my favorite cons is the one in
Kansas City. Planet Comic-Con.
Planet Comic-Con. They feed us like they're gonna slaughter us on Monday. They make sure they give us barbecue. That con knows how to take care of its guests. Let me tell you.
Yeah. Oh my God, the barbecue.
Oh yeah, no, Kansas City is great for that. I like Kansas City and I like Memphis for the same reason. The barbecue after the convention.
I don't think I've ever been to Memphis. Never been.
Yeah, no. If you ever get a chance to go to Memphis, you go to the convention, work all day. After the convention, you eat an entire pig.
Fantastic. Love it. Poor pig. Too bad.
But the other question I have about that kind of frenetic pace you're talking about is, how do you manage so many books? Because you've got to be working on them all kind of at the same time, right?
Yeah. I mean, so...
You're a good juggler. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to, and again, advertising background. Although some people,
I was in advertising.
You're a hyper focuser, though.
I was like storyboards.
Right.
So it's like I didn't have to juggle 20 storyboards. I had to work on the storyboard that I was working on, and then go to the next one. Where you're able to like spin plates, and I can't do that.
I do. I have a lot of notes. I can't flip the camera and show you how many Post-its I have around my computer. It's ridiculous. Amanda's looking at it right now.
Yeah.
But the thing with the Harley is we would lay out what we're going to do for the next 6 months, and then I would look at the book. But the joke with Harley was no matter what we think we're going to do and we tell the editor, we would hand in something different, because Harley's kind of a character that no matter what, if she's in the middle of something and gets distracted, it's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And that's how we wrote 100. How many books? 100.
She sort of like told us, like Harley sort of went in the direction that she wanted to go in, and we just sort of wrote around it. It was like
it was one of the few gigs I will say, and thank you, Dan DiDio, where and Chris Conroy is one of the few gigs I've had other than Jonah Hex, where the editor said, "Do whatever you want," and we don't get that very often, and it's why I do my own books with Paper Films, is because we usually get somebody telling us exactly what they want, and that is not a great thing when Amanda and I are working on something. A part of me says you have to hire us because you want a book by us. And we got really lucky with Harley because nobody thought it would sell, and then all of a sudden it started selling like crazy. And they were afraid to mess with what we were doing, so they kind of left us alone all the time. And
awesome.
Yeah, that worked to everyone's advantage. It changed Harley, and it changed the way DC looked at Harley. I mean, before, when we got it, it was a canceled book. They looked at it as like, it's a dead character. You're only going to last for like 6 issues, so don't worry about it. Just have fun, and then, and now she's bigger than us. That's for sure.
Popular thing on HBO Max.
Yeah, she's on HBO. She's on the movie. She's on somebody's butt cheeks and T-shirts, and she's everywhere. She's right behind you. You just can't see it.
It's true. I wouldn't doubt it. And I'd take the bat to the back of the head, and I'd probably have deserved it. So
that's all right. Yeah, I doubt it.
Well, so here I want to ask you about non-Harley Quinn stuff, because Harley Quinn we could talk about for days.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite projects of yours, Jimmy, was Back to Brooklyn. With the work you worked on with Garth. What was it like collaborating with Garth Ennis?
He's a pain in the neck, but I love him. I know he's. Garth and I was sitting in a bar one night, and this is when they only made 2 Die Hard movies, the first 2. And I said to Garth, I'm like, they should, or maybe even the first one. I said to Garth, they should make movies like Die Hard. With a guy in a situation that it's just impossible for him, and they should be doing more of that. Now, obviously, they do millions of those, but at the time, they really weren't. And so I came up with the idea for Back to Brooklyn, the whole setup. And I went back to Garth and I said, you want to write this with me? Like, here's the story. You want to do this? And he's like, yeah, what the hell not? Why the hell not? And but he's a guy I've known for a while, and he's a drinking buddy, and he's a friend. So the only thing we worked on, well, actually, when I was doing Marvel Knights, I hired him and Steve to do Punisher, where I inked Steve on it. So we became really good friends after that. We've been to his wedding. We've been overseas with him. And, so we know Garth for a long time. So working with him is always easy and fun. And with Back to Brooklyn, we were kind of trying to outdo each other on that. I mean, that's why there's a couple of scenes in that book that we've almost had it adapted for movies a couple of times. And then they get to the scene with the mother and they're like, how the hell are we going to do this? We can't do this. This is too crazy. If anybody hasn't read it, it's available. You can download it or try to find the book. But it has a scene in it with.
It is brutal.
It's brutal, and there's a scene where the main character has to deal with his mother, who calls him a racist. She's a racist, and he has to listen to his mother yell at him, and he doesn't react to it very well. Think of James Cagney in a staircase with a wheelchair, and it's not too far from that.
I have the paperback copy, and it's well read through. I mean, it's the cover's about to fall off. I need to find another copy. It's one of my favorites. Now, Amanda, let's talk about your time with an iconic character from the independent world, Vampirella.
Oh yeah, yes.
What's it like working on a character that has such an iconic look and tone and all of that? Vampirella is, you say it and everybody knows exactly what they have the picture in their head and they know the tone of the book.
Yeah.
So what is it like to work with something like that?
I was so happy. I think Jimmy helped me with this. He was like, he had talked to David up at Harris when David was up at Harris.
Johnny, actually.
Oh, Johnny.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Johnny. And Johnny Reingold, and said, hey, why don't you hire Amanda for Vampirella? And I guess they saw some of my artwork and they're like, okay. And
well, you were doing Gargoyles at the time.
I was doing Gargoyles, and I had been doing Barbie, and I was just dying to do, although Gargoyles was really fun to work on, I was dying to, get my claws into something that was really dark and kind of scary and vampire-like, and, where I got to draw a lot of blood and flying teeth and stuff like that.
Half-naked women.
And she's half naked.
Yeah, she's half naked.
Yeah, I mean, all of her bits are covered up, but anyway.
That's a shame. That's a shame. How dare they cover up the bits? One day I want to do a comic where you can peel off the little stickers covering the bits, the naughty bits.
That's going to be so hard to do.
well, just just so you can go to somebody's house and go, oh my god, he pulled all of them off, or he just pulled off the male, or he just pulled off the female, or just the dog or the horse.
I was so happy to be able to work on a character that was just so like had so much darkness and had like so much angst. So yeah, it was thrilling for me to be able to do that, and plus I had remembered Vampirella from high school, I guess. Like I have a buddy, Steve Bunch, who collected all the comics in the world, and he would bring them to school, and we would just like, pour over them all. And I learned so much from him, and he's probably the one that introduced me to Vampirella. But I feel like I knew Vampirella even before that.
Who were the writers on Vampirella when you're working on them?
Mark Millar was writing one at one point. And brain fart.
Grant Morrison. Right.
And Warren Ellis. Yes.
It's a pretty big lineup.
I had some great writers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had really, so that was a fun series to work on. But the same thing happened with me that happened with Barbie. Like Barbie was all like light and sugar and saccharin and happiness all the time, and I was like so over that Vampirella was perfect for me. But there was a certain point where I was like, oh my god, it's just so much darkness all the time. I need to do something different. And that's when I started to lean towards like dark comedy, and I'm like, okay, this is something I'm really comfortable with. So, and Jimmy and I did a dark comedy vampy story that we got in so much trouble for.
Yeah.
So, but I had never had so much fun with Vampirella because, the splash page is Vampirella sitting on a toilet.
Yeah, the editor wasn't thrilled about it, but
we got
yelled at, but they still printed it. So, okay.
I don't know if you follow kind of the secondary market on your work, but that Barbie stuff has absolutely blown up.
Has it really? I always thought that, people were finding it in quarter bins, We
have a box of them.
We do?
Yeah, we have a box
in the poly bags with the cards. They're $20 on eBay.
Really? Huh.
I think you got to sign all those, Amanda, and we got to put them on our website.
I do occasionally sign Barbies, like every so often at like once every 3 conventions or 5 conventions, somebody will have Barbies to get signed. So that's kind of fun.
I came across a stack of them, and I knew nothing about them, and I was looking them up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Amanda, and I'm starting to look at pricing and going, okay.
Well, you know what? Margot Robbie seems to follow whatever Amanda does. So it's Harley. She's doing Barbie now. We're wondering what Margot's going to do next. And probably not Power Girl, but it'd be fun if she did. Somebody.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But I actually wound up going back to the guy and giving him more money because I felt bad. Like we all thought they were, nothing, and they were this amazing thing. So
is it a recent thing? Is it a recent thing that they're worth money? Because I don't remember them ever being.
Yeah.
They popped off in the last year or so.
No kidding. So it's relatively recent, I guess. Huh.
Yeah.
How about that?
Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people follow that stuff or not, and I certainly don't until I come across something. But when you come across something that's like somebody's early work, or somebody's obscure work, and it's like, oh, this is a person I'm a fan of. Oh, okay, people don't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's
really I have a bunch of stuff like that. Like Bayou Billy for Archie Comics is pretty obscure. It was a video game back in the late 80s, I think.
Yeah.
And Archie had done the comic version of that, and I illustrated that. And
Avengers. Didn't you do a backup story in West Coast Avengers?
That was my very first published comic work.
What was it?
With that, actually, no, my first published comic work was the Strip AIDS book. It was.
Oh, right. The charity book.
It was charity to make money for people who had AIDS.
Right.
And so that was my first published work. But after that, the first comic company job that I had ever gotten was a backup story in Solo Avengers number 12.
There you go.
And
who was the character?
It was Yellow Jacket, the female Yellow Jacket, and Wasp. And The Black Knight.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I'm partial to the Black Knight. You know, they made him the Avenger for the state of Ohio. When they made
yes.
Avenger to all 50 states. So I'm partial to him. But you guys have also had tremendous success with having your work adapted into features and television and that kind of thing. And I know that you've worked on those scripts. So when you have a story that you wrote for a comic and it's being adapted, what's it like revisiting those stories, and what kind of changes do you constantly, or do you seem to have to make?
Jimmy does that.
Well, to tell you the truth, most of the stuff that has been adapted has not had us writing it at all. With the Painkiller Jane TV show, I wrote one episode. It's the best episode. And and I have to say that, right? But like even Random Acts of Violence that came out this summer, it's on Shudder right now. That was Jay Baruchel and his partner rewriting the book. So I do have a screenplay for Back to Brooklyn. I have one for Painkiller Jane I worked on, and I have one for other properties. But the stuff I've sold has been other people adapting it. And, and even like the stuff I worked on, when I was working on Jonah Hex, that DC adapted the Jonah Hex books and they destroyed it. And they did a terrible job with that. Just was not a good movie. And even with the Harley Quinn, the two Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey movie and stuff like that, a lot of stuff is based on our work, but they haven't really, what's a nice way of saying it?
They keep us separated from it.
Yeah, they keep us away. They invite us to the parties afterwards or the premieres,
which is nice.
Yeah, but they don't really ask us to get involved, and that's a big mistake. So that's why we're doing more of our own stuff these days and less of things for other people.
Yeah, and well, that was going to be the second part of my question is, if they aren't asking you, would you like to take on that challenge?
Yeah, actually, we always offer. Birds of Prey, Amanda and I offered to pretty much do whatever job. Even with the Harley Quinn cartoon, Amanda did some turnarounds and stuff like that, and they used characters of ours, but they never involved us in developing it. And again, it's kind of like them saying, hey, we love everything. We're going to take everything you do and adapt it, but we don't want you on it. And there's only so much you can take of that before you have to walk away from stuff. So we're walking away from some things because, again, if they're not going to play ball with us, why would we play ball with them so much? It's kind of we're trying to teach them a lesson.
I don't think they care.
No, they don't give a crap. But in the future, you'll see more things done with our hands-on, because that's the way we're dealing with things now.
We have so many ideas for creator-owned stuff right now. We have like a backlog of creator-owned.
It is, and Amanda's going to draw all of them.
It's going to come out slowly because I am not fast lately.
Amanda's going to get so fast, she's going to knock them out a book a day, like she was saying earlier.
I wish.
So, and I want to talk about all that stuff because we met recently on a Read Pop holiday hangout that they did with Mike Negan, and you guys were talking about you had a bunch of creator-owned stuff in the works, and you're going to use the crowdfunding and some of that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about all that stuff, but is there a IP out there that you haven't gotten a chance to work with from anybody that you would just love to get your hands on and be like, this is mine now. I'm going to fix it, or I'm going to take it.
Oh, you mean like something that the big companies have, or just like anything?
Anything you've seen, anything you're aware of, anything that you're like, I've got a story to tell.
I'll tell you this story because it didn't happen. But I pitched the Dirty Harry series for comics, and to Warner Brothers, and I reminded them that they had the rights to do it because they own all the Dirty Harry properties and stuff like that. And it didn't go through, but I thought a Dirty Harry comic would be kind of fun, set in the 70s kind of thing. But as far as the characters, we did pitch a couple of things recently that got turned down,
All I'm saying is if I were a billionaire, I'd see if I could buy Power Girl.
Right. Yeah, Power Girl one
I
would be
love
the
her so
character
much.
we would go back and if they can somehow just give it to us to do.
Yeah.
We would do some more Power Girl. We definitely have a lot of Power Girl ideas, but we pitched it a couple of times to DC and they're not interested, which we don't get. But that's their character, so what
Sure.
can you do?
Right. I mean, we got a lot of people who are. I like this. The Comic Source. I'm here for a Dirty Harry series. Get Dan Panosian to draw it.
I agree. Dan would be awesome.
That would be
He would be great at that, and I think Dan would want to do it. But people own the rights to things, so as much as we want to do things,
It is our fantasy, though.
it's our fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one. I mean, I also wanted to write the Spectre. Darwin Cook and I pitched the Spectre. He was going to draw it, and we were going to write it together. And we pitched that to DC, and they had no interest in that either, which is a shame because it would have been a really good book, And some characters. I'm trying to think. I love Red Sonja, and Conan. I grew up with that. I like the Shadow. I like certain things I grew up with, but I've worked on a lot of them, so I've gotten it out of my system almost. Almost.
Is there a person other than the person sitting next to you in the industry
Yes.
that you would love to collaborate with?
Yeah. Oh God, there's a lot of them. Amanda, you go first.
I do. Well, I had, when we were doing the Pro, I loved collaborating with Garth.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What else did I? God, you know what? Yeah, there were like a lot of people I had fun with writing.
I
Does it make it easier if I stipulate it with someone you haven't had a chance to work with yet?
Oh,
I got one. Shane Black. I'd like to write a book with Shane Black, like a comic with Shane Black. That would be pretty awesome. Because he's got a really great sense of humor, and I feel like a lot of my things are always trying to be Shane Black. I can't be Shane Black, but I shoot for it, Also, yeah, somebody mentioned Fantastic Four. That's the one comic that I've never worked on. That's one of my favorite comics. So I would love to do Fantastic Four.
I'm thinking I've never done a big Barda series. That would be fun.
Big
Let's
Barda.
see. I love Big Barda.
You like Tigra?
Love Tigra, but that was Tigra. I did do the little. Remember, we did like the little
1,000 books.
Yeah, we did the little Tigra thing.
Yeah.
The Tigra changing careers thing.
Yeah.
But the Tigra is actually what got me my first job at Marvel. I was just, drawing. I was like making up stories in my head and just drawing pages that I wanted to draw. And I'm like, I love Tigra. I'm going to do a Tigra one this time. And I'd gone back to Marvel and DC probably, 5 or 6 times, and showing them new stuff all the time. And I'm like, well, what they're really looking for is some sequential stuff. Let me do like a bunch of sequential Tigra pages. And I did a bunch of sequential Tigra pages. It was like her versus Kraven the Hunter or something like that. And they were like, okay, we got a job for you. So yeah, I have to thank Tigra for getting me my first job.
Thank you, Tigra. Time is it again?
I don't know. Right.
It's
6:41
Eastern Standard.
Thank you. Just checking. I have to go pick up dinner. That's why I'm just.
We have, speaking
What
of
do we have?
I got pizza.
I think I'm going to order one as well.
There you go.
So, I've been asking people fun questions.
Okay.
Random questions. So I'm going to ask you, Ultimate Nerd Garage. You have the Ultimate Pop Culture Garage. You get one car and one spaceship from all of pop culture. What's in it?
Oh.
Oh God!
I think that
So much Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I think Aston Martin from James Bond. I'd want his James Bond's car.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, if we're gonna go real fantasy, I want.
You want Kit? No, you.
No. I mean,
I wouldn't want a smart car. After Alexa lets me down all the time so much, I don't really want to involve a smart car.
See, I picked the ultimate smart car.
What's
Christine from Stephen King.
Oh, Christine is haunted, though, man. I mean, Christine can turn on you.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying.
I want the Rocketeer's jetpack.
There you go.
His jetpack. That's
Yeah,
pretty good. Yeah.
I want the Rocketeer's jetpack, and I want
Jennifer Connelly in the Rocketeer.
I want
Is that the same thing?
I want triplicate girls' powers. Is what I want. I
Oh,
mean, I don't know if I
okay.
would keep that in a garage, but I want the Rocketeer's jetpack and
Right.
triplicate girls' powers.
Okay. How about spaceship?
Wonder Woman's invisible plane.
Yeah?
Oh hell yeah!
Over the Millennium Falcon?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Okay, no, the Millennium Falcon.
Star Wars geek, so.
I mean, I think you know what? An X-wing is more maneuverable.
What, you're gonna have traffic? Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
You
I
mean
mean,
fighting?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Millennium Falcon. Also
I'd want
is
the
very-
giant starship, the triangle one. You know, the one that's like the bad guys are in.
I don't want to have to clean all those windows.
You would have clones. You would have millions of clones that can clean all those windows the whole time.
I already said I just want to be triplicate girl. All I need is like a few of me. I don't need a million of me.
I'm okay with 3 Amandas.
But I love that.
Yes. I can handle it. It all ends with me putting a gun in my mouth.
I
though.
can use 3 Amandas. Like I love those powers though, because like I always feel like I have too much stuff to do and I need more of me, but I don't want the one of me that's having like doing the fun job and then the one of me that's doing the tedious job is going to be jealous of the one doing the fun job. So I like at the end of the day I can all like come back together into one person and experience everything. So yeah, that's why I like that power.
Okay.
That's what
So my answer was obviously Christine, but then I picked the Slave One because I have a small garage and it stores flat. So
I would like Felix the Cat's bag.
Oh, that would be good.
Because then I can pull all those ships out and the cars out. So I think Felix the Cat's bag. I know you didn't ask, but it seemed like a good thing
It's
to
in a
have.
garage, and you could,
I
why
could
not?
fit a bag in my garage.
yeah, you put the bag in the middle of the garage and it just solves all your problems. Mary
Yeah,
Poppins.
Yeah.
pretty much, yes.
See, that's probably the best. That's probably the best one right there.
Although there's somebody looking it up going, Felix the Cat's bag. What is that? You know? I
Well,
expect,
they're looking it up, they're doing it wrong.
yes, that's true.
So let's talk about the creator-owned stuff and the things you have coming. You said you're stepping away from some of the stuff you've been working on for a while to do some of your own projects. Are there projects in the works that you can tell us about, and how are those going to come out? And...
Yeah, the first one you can talk about is Captain Brooklyn.
Yes.
So this was a book we were supposed to do years ago.
Yeah, I started the first page ages ago, and that's it.
Yeah, and then Harley happened. It's a book that Frank Thierry and I wrote, and Amanda's going to be co-writing. And
drawing.
That's the first thing. I have the next Kickstarter coming out is Sex and Violence 3, which has Amanda and I wrote a story in it, and it's short stories all having to do with sex and violence. We've done already 2 Kickstarters on those books before that were very successful. So we just keep like one every year we're going to try to do. And then we have we have a smaller company, a very important soon-to-be giant company book we're doing, but they're not quite giant yet. They're not the big 2, but they're definitely the big 3 and 4 that we can't talk about yet. But let's see what else. What can we talk about? That's it, right? We're doing a book. We can't mention the band, but we're doing a book with a famous band that we're both writing, and Amanda's doing the cover for. It's a very famous band, but we're not allowed. There's so much stuff we're not allowed to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I know it sucks, but
Right, but the tease of the band, and
Yeah.
band is going to work with Jimmy and Amanda.
yes,
And like in my mind, you're a New York guy.
right.
First band I went to doesn't even exist anymore. I think half of them are dead, which was the New York Dolls. So I just start going through my Rolodex of bands.
I won't. How about this? I'll say you're in the ball field of in the you're not that far away from what the band is. So, but that you pulled out the New York Dolls is pretty impressive to me. Anyway,
Well, it's like I said, I start thinking through New York Dolls, Velvet Underground, Lou Reed. I start thinking about quintessential New York groups.
It's not the Beastie Boys. I'll say what it's not. It's not the Beastie Boys. That would have been a good one for me as well, but it's definitely
Jimmy adores the Beastie Boys.
I love the Beastie Boys, and it's Tina. It's not Bon Jovi. Although that'd be fun, but I'd be the wrong guy for Bon Jovi. Amanda would be the better one for me.
I don't know. My best friend from high school would be the perfect person for that because she has a crush on all of them.
Amanda loved the Cars, though.
Yeah, I love the Cars.
So
that was my favorite band.
Rest in peace.
So yeah. So we're not.
Yeah.
We're just mentioning ones that it's not.
Right. No, it's and the joke has always been. I would spend some time in the music industry. That if you're from that area, you can be a Bruce Springsteen guy or you could be a Billy Joel guy.
I like them both. So
yeah, you can like either one, but you're either a Billy Joel guy or you're a Bruce Springsteen guy.
I don't know. I love. How about this? I like older Billy Joel, and I like newer Bruce Springsteen.
What did you think of the new record?
It's fantastic. I mean, Springsteen, one of his best, I think.
I've been telling people that it sounds like Bruce Springsteen got written by Neil Young in Crazy Horse.
Yeah, it's
sung by Bruce Springsteen.
It's got so much soul to it, and his heart is right there in every song. It gets better as you listen to it. That album, which very few albums do, I think. It's one of those ones that gets better all the time. So it is. I do buy more music than I buy comics. Amanda will back me up on that. I do buy more music.
That's the thing that you probably buy the most of.
Yeah,
besides food.
Besides food, I mean, yeah. But I listen to besides Amanda's Starbucks, it's the second thing I buy the most of is music.
I no lie. I go to the comic shop on Wednesday morning and the record shop after. I've got a pull list at both places. That's kind of my MO. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
So when you've had the success you've had with the big two, with DC, in the mainstream comics world, and you go to doing creator-owned and Kickstarter and crowdfunding, what are some of the challenges that presents? Because it can't be as hard as it is for some of the people who are just getting started, but it's got to present its own set of hard situations.
So a Kickstarter, when COVID kicked in, I had like 30 creators call me and say, "Hey, I see you do Kickstarters. Can you show me or tell me how to do them?" And after I told them to read the question part of, not the Ramones, sorry. After I told them to research, I would get on the phone with people and explain to them what I do. And 99% of them ran the other way because they're like, "Wait a minute, you have to take care of that?" And I said, "Oh, I got to check the printing. We got to pack all the packages. I got to do, people have questions every day. I have to answer every question. We have to, make sure the printing is done on time. And there's so much.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
So I always tell people, I'm like, it's a lot of work for a minimal amount of money. But for us, it's perfect because we get to keep our intellectual property, meaning we own it. And I get to connect. The great thing about Kickstarter is I'm connecting with these 1,000+ people, and they tell me what they want to buy. They back it or they don't back it. They tell me what they want to buy. But I talk to them, and I swear when I pack the packages, it's the same names. I start to get to know these people, and it's a very grassroots thing. And as much as comic books, I love mainstream comics. I don't get, unless I'm at a con, I don't get to meet and talk to the people. And even at a con, it's tough sometimes because there's a million people there. So with the Kickstarters, there's really is a lot of grassroots interaction. People ask questions, and I just love that part of it. But I also love the fact that I can create a book. Nobody's telling me what I can't put in it. Nobody's telling me what the limitations are. I can go to the printer and say, I want this spot varnished, and I want a triple thick cover, and I want this kind of paper on it. And I just love the control aspect of the Kickstarter. And if you've ever seen any of my books from the Kickstarter, the quality on them is 400 times better than most comic books that you buy. And it's because I'm one of those people that touches a very important thing. What do they call that? When
you're very tactile.
Tactile, yeah.
In touch with what you like.
Yeah, so so when I hold a book, I'm like, this feels like $20. You know, I have to hold it. You know, when it's the big two. You know, the comics they treat them like product. They just keep dumping them out as quick as you can buy them because they want all your money. And even some of the mainstream stuff, they don't even have cover stock anymore. The interior stock's the same as the cover. Like, for some reason, they've cheapened the experience for me by making it so cheap. And I think what we do is such an important entertainment. You know, it's important kind of entertainment that I kind of hate that it's so disposable. I got to tell you. And so with the Kickstarter, I feel like I make every book special. It's less disposable. It's more collectible. I personalize. You know, I sign the books, and there's so much more I can do than me just writing something and giving it to an editor and calling it a day and wait until the book comes back. This is so it's about control, you know.
I have a friend who is a pretty well-regarded independent singer-songwriter, and the thing she said to me about Kickstarter is that she can make a record for Columbia and make all kinds of money, or she can make a Kickstarter record and make no money off the Kickstarter, but then for the next 10 years, that's what pays her bills, is because it's an intimate relationship that you have with the people who back your Kickstarter.
Yes.
And those are the people who are front row center at your concerts, buying your t-shirts, you know, buying your posters, having your autographs, wanting to give you, you know, all of the love, as it were. And it's, you know, I think there's something to that, especially, you know, when you've had a level of success that to some people makes it feel hard to approach. But
right.
I get back to Kickstarter, and now boom, you know, it's got that thing. So we got about 5 minutes left, and I feel like we could talk for hours. Because I want to talk about New York. I want to talk about all of that kind of stuff, like so much more. But we got to do the business.
Okay.
So where can people follow you? Where can people find you? Where can people get the Kickstarter information the second it comes out so they can be there on that, be an early adopter?
Okay, so if you go to paperfilms.com, one word, paperfilms.com, and there'll be a pop-up that comes up on the screen. Like give it like 10 seconds, 12 seconds, it'll pop up. If you fill that out, you get on our mailer. And our mailer goes out like twice to 3 times a month. It tells you where we're going to be, what we're doing next. We showcase some of Amanda's artwork. We'll stick some crazy photos in there. We just make it a fun mailer because we don't want it, you know. And then we also give a discount on our website. So if you're on a mailer, you get like these coupons, because we do sell Amanda's original art on the site and prints and stuff like that. But that's the best way to contact us and also see what we're up to. And you can buy our books there. And when you use that website to buy anything, the money actually goes directly to Amanda and I. So there's no middleman. There's no, 3 cents on a dollar thing. We actually get the money. And then both Amanda and I are on Twitter.
By the way, I'm a terrible tweeter. I'm not good at it.
But I'm on there a lot.
He's amazing.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Wes Greer, for signing up now.
Thank
awesome.
you.
But yeah, so we're both on Twitter. We're both on Instagram. Under my name, under Amanda. I think it's your name says
Amanda Connor Art.
Amanda Connor Art. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much it. The paperfilms.com is the definite way.
Yeah. Oh, my Twitter. I mean, if you want to follow me on Twitter, which I'm bad at it. It's Amanda Rants a Lot.
Which is a joke because she hardly rants.
I don't rant
on it now. And mine's J Palmiotti. Just put Palmiotti. I think it's between me and my brother. There's only like 5 Palmiottis on there, so you'll find it. It's a picture of me and Amanda. If you want to find it, but that's where you can reach us.
So we got 3 minutes. We got about 3 minutes left, and I've got one more fun question, and I think I know Amanda's answer because she kind of already gave it. But if you could take any superhero's power and have it for a day, you only get it for one day, what power are you getting?
You got it? Okay. I'll start. Oh, you answered this already. That's right. Okay. That's our neighbor. He comes over for movie night, so we do movie night tonight.
Nice. What
You
are
know, he's like 15, so you know, we kind of show him older movies instead of him watching the same movie over and over and over. I think I would like the power to be invisible because I have like a little devil to me. I'd love to run around and, you know,
pants people,
pants the president, and you know, I just think there's so much fun things you can do if you're invisible. And again, it is like the little devil horns come up at the tail. You can run around and be crazy.
Give random strangers a wet willy.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, sure. I can stand over people, you know, and say, I could like sneak up to people at the comic shop and don't buy that, you know, and then wait till try that book over there. That issue, that's mine. You should buy that. You know, I could talk, you know, I think I could have so much fun being invisible. I'm sure flying is great too, but I'm afraid of getting hit by birds and strange things in the air. Although they can run you over if you're invisible, if you're running across the street.
You got to be real careful.
Yeah.
People just like run into you, you know.
Plus,
just like,
are you naked when you're invisible, or can you wear clothes?
The unknown soldier had it figured out. He wrapped his head in bandages.
Right. So I guess you're naked when you're invisible, right?
Unless you're like wearing a disembodied outfit.
Yeah, I mean, so when you become visible, you're naked no matter where you are. I'd like to control when I can be invisible too. That would be part of my power. I don't want it to be random because that would be embarrassing.
Go back through and read the Invisible Girl origin stories and things and try and figure this out. Because I'm sure the work has been done.
I'd love to just sit on a wedding cake of somebody I don't like. You know, just get in there and just right on it and then run away the other way. You know, it'll be fun.
All right, we have one last from Tina. It's been amazing to listen to and to have you respond.
Thank you, Tina. I like your what is that? Is that it's boots and a hat coming out?
Oh yeah.
Tina's like chilling.
Awesome. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, man. This was a lot of fun.
So much. This was so much fun. It's been an honor to get to talk to you guys again and to hang out. Thank you for being a part of our launch weekend here on the Comic Book Shopping Experience, the EXP Expo. It's been truly an honor to get to promote so many great people this weekend, including yourselves.
Thank you for having me.
We wish you guys a ton of success.
Yes, thank you so much. Head over to paperfilms.com. Click on and buy all the things.
All of them.
It's not that hard. All the things.
All right, take care.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
All right, time to eat.
Yeah, time to eat. We will be back, guys, in just a couple of minutes with more great creators, including some people whose names you haven't heard yet, but definitely should, and some people whose names, if you've heard, you probably are me. So we're going to be back with some of my best friends in the world, some great independent creators, in just about a minute's time. Stay tuned to the EXP Expo Day 3.